I hear you. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Corey. That's Keisha. We are His and Herbs, and we're just some future big-time gardeners growing food in the high desert of Southern California. Today, guys, what I wanted to talk to you guys about real quick was something that's really vital and really important, especially to the new gardener. Like, I wish more of this information was out, but back when we first started gardening, but I understand why it wasn't. Okay. Oh, I thought I saw an extra chicken. I'm about to get excited. But about to say we got some volunteer chickens popping up too. But I'm going to continue to weed this section here. We're going to pull everything out except the white. The white that you see is actually arugula. It's going to seed. We have some broccoli that's going to seed right here. We didn't get all the broccoli up, unfortunately, but you know, it is what it is. It happens, right? But I'm gonna leave at least one of those broccoli plants so that they can go to seed and we can collect at least, I mean, really at least about 2 of them so we can have as many seeds as we want, as we need, right? So, but I'm gonna, both of them, you can do both. So we're gonna leave the arugula also because, well, we're not gonna leave, so I'm gonna weed this section here. I am gonna pull out the arugula from here because we have arugula there, that big arugula bush that we have over there. I was gonna leave it all because it's attracting the bees right now, and I want the bees to already be present by the time we get our stuff in the ground that needs to be pollinated. So that was the idea. But I'm gonna go ahead and weed this. I'm gonna pull out this arugula, pull out this broccoli, and all the except for the ones that we want to go to seed, and the same thing with the cauliflower. Now, to be honest, what I was asking Keisha to do, because she's had success at doing it so far, is actually transplanting some of these more established broccoli and cauliflower. That way we can have them, we can transplant them to a bucket, let them grow and do their thing, and we can allow them to go to seed that way, right there in the bucket. All right, so this year I did want to, instead of pulling everything out, I did want to cut it back at the base and tarp it and let it die back. Unfortunately, because I'm running out of time, instead of cutting everything, instead of cutting everything down and then letting it, go back into the earth, I'm gonna have to pull it. So try again next year, I guess. But as I was saying, I wanted to talk to you guys, especially like newer gardeners, about something that's really important. And if you don't have this information, you can cause all kinds of damage to your garden, right? So I still consider us new gardeners, even though we've been doing it like 4 years. I'm probably going to look at us like that for a long time. That thing that I'm talking about is being aware of the things that you buy to put into your garden. More specifically, the bags of composted manure. While they are a great amendment to your soil and to your garden, if you don't know any better, you can cause all kinds of havoc, because there's these, when you buy these things from the store. But let me tell you a quick story. Last year I was growing cantaloupe, honeydew in 5-gallon buckets, and everything was going real good. It was looking real beautiful, real lovely. They were growing, and to my surprise, they were actually putting out more fruit sets last year than in any previous year. So I was like, oh, I'm doing something I'm doing something seriously right. Because I'm talking like in one bucket I had like 6 or 7 fruit sets off of one plant. And I used the same mixture that I've been using for the last couple of years, the super poop and the compost, stuff like that. So that's what I did, right? Had these things looking like they were ready. They were ready. I was excited, right? So I was like, okay, if I have that many fruit sets growing, I'm gonna need to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to give them as many nutrients as they need, as this plant needs. Because I was gonna let them grow. In that one bucket, I was gonna just let them all take off and do what they do and see what the result was gonna be, to see how many I can actually push out of a 5-gallon bucket. I know it wouldn't have been a lot, but it was going to be an experiment because I had a couple of other buckets going as well. So to sacrifice one in the name of research, I was willing to do that, right? So that we all can learn something. So I was like, okay, let me give this stuff as much as it needs, as much as it wants. So I went big box store, Big Orange, and I grabbed their the composted manure that they always carry. That y'all know it, the yellow and white bag. So I grabbed that. I grabbed a couple of bags of that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw this in there to start feeding, to provide more nutrition to the plants. Cool. I said, all right, so I'm gonna add some of this to each container, to each place where I'm growing the melons and all that good stuff. So that's what I did. After about a week or so, I noticed things became stagnated. I had stopped seeing growth on the honeydew that was in this one particular bucket, and I'm like, like what's going on? And then everything started to die back. Like the vines started to die, the fruit sets were dying, and I was like, oh man, what happened? So this is what I did. I put this manure on the plants, and then I mulched it with some straw that we had. So at that point, I was like, oh, it must be the straw. It must be the straw, and graze on or whatever. So I was like, let me go back and take all the straw off. I took all the straw off, and things didn't improve. It just kept going, kept dying back, kept dying off, and eventually the whole plant just died. Right. So then after some thinking, and I was thinking about it, I was like, man, what happened? What did I do? Like, was it the straw? What I noticed is that I had put straw in several different places, and I didn't have the same results. It didn't have the same effects. I was like, wait, it couldn't have been the straw, because we had straws in the pumpkins. We had straw just about everywhere because we were using it as a mulch. So I started thinking, I was like, so was it the manure? So I started tracing back, and I was like, every single container that I put, or every single place that I put manure out of a specific bag, because I knew how much manure I was using and where I was using it at. I went through one bag, and I knew it wasn't that bag because of where I placed it in the garden, right? The things that I fed with it. But this second bag, everything I used the second bag on died back. And I was like, aha, like that, it was that, right? So it was the manure. So, and think about it, I had bought several bags of that stuff, and I still have like 2 bags left because I stopped using it because I didn't know if it was going to be any good or not. And we're going to talk about that, how to test and find out if that stuff is any good here at the end of the video. So stick around. So now that brings me to the point of this video, which is making sure that we understand what it is that we're buying and putting into our garden, because it can really hurt us if we're not careful, right? And I hope y'all can see me do all this brush, right? I'm like a jungle man right now, bushwhacker. In commercial farming, they're using pesticides to try to control the vegetation growth, right? And unfortunately, some of these pesticides, and the information that I'm giving you guys is off of I believe it's a college extension's website, and I'm gonna link it. I'm gonna try to put it on the screen, and I'm gonna put a link to it down in the description, so you guys can look it up and read it for yourself. Don't take my word for it, please. Do your own research, but I'm gonna just point you in the right direction. So a lot of these commercial farmers or whatever, they're using these pesticides, and these pesticides I don't understand it, but they're telling this is what was being said in the article, was that a pesticide could be bad for plants, but can still be consumed by livestock, by horses and cattle and goats and whatever else. Right now, I don't understand that, but hey, you know, I don't understand how something could be good for an animal but bad for a plant, because I'm thinking it's all poison, right? Anyway, some of you guys that are more knowledgeable in that can help me out. Maybe help me out in the comments. Shoot me an email and explain it. But either way you look at it, it's bad for the plants, good, but still edible by the livestock. And we all know that you are what you eat. And we all know that whatever you eat, you will eventually pass, right? So when the animals or the livestock eat it, they pass it, but it's in the manure. It's in their dung, their feces, their fecal matter. Right? It's been composted, and this stuff can stay in the manure for up to 3 years. Up to 3 years, right? And over time, it can get I guess it can go away, but it's a process, and it's going to be due to like the microbes in the soil eating it, and like I guess watering it and leaching it away, and all this other stuff, right? All this stuff that I'm saying is in the article, so you can read it and understand it better for yourself. Okay, but that's what it is. So when the animals use the bathroom, these people, they are taking the manure, they're composting it, and the chemicals are not going anywhere. And there's more than just one chemical. I know we're familiar with the term Grazon. If you're not familiar with it, get familiar with it, research it, look it up, find out more about it, where it's typically found and all that stuff, right? Because it can harm your garden. It's a pesticide. It's not a pesticide. It's an herbicide. I think I kept saying pesticide, but I meant herbicide. Okay, so the stuff is being passed through the manure. It's being composted, bagged up, shipped to the stores, and then we're putting it directly into our garden. I sincerely believe that last year, that's exactly what happened with us. Is that we had some kind of herbicide in that bagged manure, and I put it in those spaces, those areas that I was growing in, and it killed everything. And like I said, if you're a new gardener and you don't know any better, and you know that you want to put manure in your garden, the first place you're going to go is to one of the big box stores. You're going to just grab it and you're going to go, right? And you're not going to think twice about it. And it's sad because you can watch your garden die and think that it's something that you did wrong. I mean, technically you did do something wrong. Technically, but you didn't do it deliberately, right? You trusted the product that you were buying, but unfortunately it wasn't safe for your garden. So you're going to think you did something wrong when you really didn't. You're going to think you're a bad gardener because you can't get things to grow, when the reality is you actually just put a contaminated product in your garden, and that's what caused the issue. And this conversation actually came up because we went to visit some people yesterday. Shout out to Jose and Reina. We went to visit a family yesterday, and they were telling us that they had put some manure down in their garden last year, and it killed their plants. Odds are They got it from one of the big box stores, either Big Blue or Big Orange, right? So I'm like, okay, this is continuing over from last year. And yeah, y'all. So like I said, this is really and they are beginner gardeners. They've been at it for a couple of years, but think about like I said, what it can do to them mentally, because they're like, oh man, I messed this up. Like, how hard is it to grow something and I can't get this right because I killed everything in my garden? But technically you didn't. Technically you did not. So if you're a beginner gardener, even if you're an experienced gardener, you have to be aware of the dangers of just grabbing stuff out of the big box stores and throwing it in our gardens. There's definitely, a lot. Well, cigarette butts, don't nobody here smoke, to my knowledge. But these, grabbing stuff and throwing it into our garden, it could be dangerous because of that. So if you're going to use this stuff, and like I said, there's a lot of information in the article that I'm going to link. Please read it. Please read it, just so you guys can know and you guys can be aware. You guys can ask the right questions to the right people and get the right answers. If they can't answer the questions that the article tells you to ask, then don't mess with it. Err on the side of caution. It's better to be safe than sorry, right? But in the article, it says that one way that you can test the straw, the manure, the grass clippings, any of that stuff. One way that you can test it is you get you like some more of the sensitive plants, sensitive to the pesticides, like I think they mentioned tomatoes, peas, stuff like that, and you get like 6 of them. You're gonna have a control, then you're gonna have the ones that you're experimenting with. So your control is gonna just be potting mix, tomatoes, peas, whatever. Your experiment is gonna be the 1-in-1. All right, so the half potting mix, half the compost, or half the grass clippings or the straw, using the straw, whatever. Okay, and if you notice that the control after 3 or 4 weeks is looking significantly different or larger than the other ones, you know that whatever you're using is potentially contaminated, so you don't want to mess with it. But it also goes on to say that some of the symptoms may not be present until the plant starts to fruit, and you'll start to see it in the fruit. So and we all know that's way too long, way too late to find out that there's something wrong with our soil. By the time that you actually get in tomatoes, man, like you've already waited like what, 30, 60 days, 90 days in some cases to get fruit, and your season is about over, halfway over, and now you have to redo your tomato bed, all your tomatoes or whatever, to try to get more tomatoes. Now, honestly, guys, I hope that I really hope that I explained. So, guys, I hope that I really explained that in a way that you can understand it, because it's really important. A couple of years ago, Homestead Heart had put out a video where she lost like all of her watermelons, and they didn't understand why. And then they found out later on it was the straw, Grazon, all that stuff. And understand, like I said before, it's not just Grazon. It's about 10 chemicals that they use aside from Grazon. So Grazon is just one of them. It's like 10 of them that can do the same thing that commercial growers use on their crops, that could spread over to the, that can get into the animal can eat. They can consume it, get in their poop, and then end up in our gardens, right? Even we have to be careful getting the super poop, because free isn't always better, right? But fortunately for us, super poop is clean. We've had no issues. And the reason why we got it is because it was actually recommended by someone else who had been using it, so we knew it was safe. But do your research to understand what you guys are getting into, because like I said, Homestead Heart did that video. They lost all their melons, found out it was Grazon from the straw that they were using. They had to ditch it, had to start over, had to wait till next year. All right. And that's the same thing. Like I had no honeydew from last year because of what happened. and almost lost the cantaloupe. Make sure you understand what you're getting yourselves into, because I would hate, and you would hate, to have to get halfway through the season and realize that you have a problem with your soil and you have to pull everything up, because how else are you going to get rid of it? You're going to have to go through your garden, pull everything up, and start everything all over again, laying down new fresh soil. That is going to be very expensive, right? So we don't want that. I don't want that for you, and I don't want it for me, and hopefully you don't want it for me either. but yeah, guys, hopefully I explained that in a way that can be understood. If I didn't, please tell me so I can redo this video. But I think for the most part you guys got it. I think even if I left something out or something was a little bit confusing, you guys should get the gist that check what you're using in your garden before you just throw it all over the place. You may have to do a sample test. Get the soil, get your manure if you're going to use the manure or you're going to use the straw. Get it early enough to where you can test it before you use it. You know, get it a month in advance so you can run some of those tests, see if anything dies back, and if it does, then you know, hey, I don't need to use this. Return it to the store, get your money back, or whatever. Get some more bags, go someplace else, or whatever. Or if it's good, then hey, you got the thumbs up to keep going with it, right? So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys found this video informative. I wanted to put this out because I don't want anybody to start their garden this year for the first time and encounter this problem. So please share this video with as many new gardeners as you can, or people that love to buy stuff from the big box stores. There's nothing wrong with that. We just have to be careful, okay? So yeah, if you found this video informative, please like it, share it, and let me know if I missed something or you guys have any other questions that you want me to look up regarding this topic. I will do so, and I will get back with you guys about that. But for right now, they already gave me the dinner bell call. Ding, ding, ding. I already heard it. It's time to eat. So I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.